Hello and welcome. Welcome to CPR's Clubhouse Live. My name is CPR Jose Ortiz, and it's a 35th year anniversary of Nyasias Now and Forever, and we're going to be discussing that here on the panel. Of course, joining us, we have Nyasia. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Also, on the dais, we have Willie Valentin, and one of the greatest writers of all time, Valentin Bertot. Thank you so much for joining us.
How you doing?
So we're here to celebrate 35 years of Now and Forever. And so there's a rich history. 35 years ago, this song was put together, but it wasn't put together the way that it was actually meant to be put together. So we want to explain that and also explain the fact that here we are in 2024. We are back to basics, revisiting the song and its roots. And Nyasia, you've done something. And that is that you recorded your vocals over again. And there's so many different things that are being added to the song that is not only going to surprise the listener, but is also going to give them a rich history of the song. How does it feel to revisit this song all this time later?
I think it's a fantastic culmination of the beginning of my career to where I'm at now, and the fact that I was able to re-record and do this whole process with the two guys that started Nyasia from the beginning. You know, if it wasn't for Mike and Willie, forget it. Somebody else would have been Nyasia or something. I don't know. Somebody else would have been singing the song, but it's just such a surreal but fantastic feeling being able to do this with these two guys.
So let's talk about the history of all of you here on this panel. How did you all get together? What is the history between Nyasia, Willie Valentin, Valentin Bertot? What is the correlation here?
Do you guys want me to start?
Yeah, you can start off.
You know what? What matters is your perception of it. Yeah, you can start. Go ahead.
Yeah. So one day I go with a friend of mine to a club in New York called 4Ds.
Yep.
To see this performer called Stevie B, who I had no idea who he was because I didn't know anything about freestyle at the time. So I'm standing there, you know, I'm dancing. I see these three guys over there, and I'm dancing with one of them. And then he introduces me to Michael and Willie Valentin. And he says that he's their manager, and that they're a singing group and they're going to need a dancer. So I was like, okay, yeah, they seem nice and whatever. So I started dating the other guy, and during that process, we start rehearsing and I become their dancer for, I don't know how many, like 6 months was it more than that?
Yeah, it was about that, I think.
Yeah.
Right. About 6 months to a year, the most.
Yeah.
And that's how we met at a club when we went to see Stevie B perform.
Like 89 or like was that?
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
89, right? 88.
Yeah, early 89.
Yeah.
It's funny. I tried that line on different girls in the clubs as far as, hey, we're looking for dancers. It didn't work for me.
Is it ironic, Nyasia, that you didn't know who Stevie B was back then, but now you're touring with him in Brazil at all these huge events? It's kind of full circle. It continues to grow your story and your legend as well. Valentin, what do you remember most about meeting Nyasia and connecting with her?
It's
be nice, Mike.
Yeah. No, it was a lot going on back then. I mean, Willie and I already were a group established for a few years already, trying to get into the industry. Doing the club scene. That's kind of how we met her. And getting back to your question, at the time we didn't really know what to think of it. Right? We knew we needed a dancer. There were a few people that we had auditioned before, just didn't work out. But I think her dating the gentleman that we were with at the time made it kind of easier because she was accessible at that time.
Yep.
So it was really easy. But no, it was a whole lot of fun. I mean, she got into it real quick, and we were doing like Sweet 16s and things like that, and it was the right fit.
What do you remember about connecting with Nyasia and the story of you guys starting to collaborate and her being your dancer?
we clicked right away. Like it was, when I think back, when we just said it wasn't for that long of a period of time, but it felt like a long period of time. I felt like we went through so much, traveling, performing, practicing, doing, like Mike said, 316s and private events and whatever shows we can get, we did. But the biggest thing is that we clicked. We were so like a tight team, like we would sleep over, like it was just slumber party, It was a fun time.
And they would eat my horrible cooking.
Yeah, we just never said anything about it. It was just
Yeah, you didn't have to. I knew it was horrible.
Yeah, that's why the dog was getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger.
I got better.
Yeah, but it was like family, for her it was just like family. Like it was seamless, and what helps also is that she has a good sense of humor, and we're goofy, we're like we're jokesters. So at the end of the day, we were looking for someone that wasn't real sensitive about stuff, and she's not that. Like she's just really out in the open, and it was just awesome.
I was one of the guys.
Yeah, I think that was one of the points I wanted to make, that you really fit in anywhere you go. I know meeting you here in New England, it was just like you came in, you fit in, and never been a diva, never been a person that was never down to earth, not down to earth. You know what I mean? You're of the people, and the fact that when you met your fans and the people that support you, you treat them all like they're all your friends. And we've always had great experiences having you here, and whenever you're booked, and even your legend to this day, everybody that has seen you perform, or the people from Brazil, they all talk about how kind you are, how welcoming you are. And that's the type of artists that we love in this genre, because we need more like you, down to earth, of the people. We like that.
Thank you.
But 35 years of Now and Forever, let's talk about the genesis of this song, because the history is important to bring this full circle. Who wrote Now and Forever?
I did.
Will the real writer please stand up?
Yeah, please stand up. Yeah. So it's interesting, you talked about her being humble and everything. I think when I think back at her career, it was something that wasn't even on her radar, right? It wasn't like anything that she was like, yeah, I want to be an artist, I'm going to sing. That was Willie and myself. That was our dream, right? And when she got into this, it kind of happened just by accident. She was on stage, someone noticed her, right? And they thought it would be a great idea to get her on stage as an artist. The only problem is that, there was the fear of singing, right? Because that was something that she really didn't do, right? But we were persistent, in getting her on stage and making that work. So I'm glad it did for her.
And how did the concept of Now and Forever come along? Because that wasn't the original title for it. That was the title that they ended up putting on the Micmac record. But what was the original title of Now and Forever?
With One Touch. Yeah.
So now,
the song. Yeah.
So that explains the new title of the song that we have for 2024. 35 years later is called Now and Forever with One Touch. So that explains that, because the original title was With One Touch. Nyasia, do you know who changed the title once they were going to release this record on Micmac?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, may he rest in peace, I think it was Nelson Cruz. Yeah, he took it over to Micmac, which to me was a lark. I always said, yeah, sure, I'll sign it. Just, it's not going to go anywhere. So he took it, and I guess when you want to put your name, as a writer, whatever, you switch something here or add something there, and ta-da, you become a writer. So he took out the chorus with One Touch and made Now and Forever the chorus. But Now and Forever was always there. It was just like the bridge, right, Michael? Like the bridge to the chorus. Yeah. But he took out the chorus and left Now and Forever to be the chorus.
And that's something that you wanted to re-add to this new version in 2024. So there's a lot of people that do remakes of their own songs. To me, this is so different. This is 2 years in the making, because I know that this project, Understand? Yeah, it was 2 years in the making when it first started. Now it's what, double that to almost 4 years now. But
Actually, it was more than 2 years in the making. We started discussing this. I think it was prior to COVID
Oh,
happening.
yeah.
Yeah, we were walking in the streets of New York. It was Manny and me and Jenny Renee and Martin, my husband, and we were just talking about the songs or whatever. And he was like, "Why don't you just, you should have Willie remake the song?" And I was like, "He's not going to want to do that." And he goes, "Yeah, you should do it." And then have one of the mixes called the Chelsea mix. And we were like, it just kept going around in our heads, And we finally spoke to Willie. He was like, "Yeah, I'll do it."
it's funny. It's funny the evolution of the record, because also your husband Martin, DJ Paradise, for everyone who is watching this and knows about the Freestyle File, the greatest online radio show of all time. Hint, hint. I'll be number 2. But the bottom line is that he has a lot of input. He had a lot of ideas to where it evolved to so much more than just redoing the project over again. There's additions to the song, and there's generations and generations of the tree, the learning tree of freestyle. Like you have the roots within All In here. Michael Anthony Bertot, the writer, Willie Valentin, the original producer, Nyasias, the singer, and now other family members are going to be also joining the mix. And Paradise, Martin wanted to make an artistic family version of it, right? And we haven't heard an artistic family version since Freestyle Parade Volume 3. So it's great that him brainstorming with you. And just keep all these years, he's just adding idea after idea, and it just keeps evolving and growing and getting better. And I had the opportunity to listen to the songs, the versions of the songs that are going to be released soon. And man, I love it, and I love it more because I know the history now. Plus, I love it more because to me it sounds so much better than the original, and that's because technology and the vocals sound crispy, the vocals sound great. It sounds like you, but it sounds like a really powerful you, and then it's just the addition of friends. But we'll talk about that a little bit more during the process here. Willie, when they approached you on doing this record over again for a 35-year anniversary, how'd you feel?
When they approached me originally for the 30th anniversary, but
okay.
The 25th too.
No, let me just tell you, I mean, it was great. It was great. I was like, yeah, hell yeah. I don't show a lot of emotion when it comes to that stuff, but I've done a lot of remakes for people, for original artists, but this one was a little more special because, this is, I would say, the first official artist that me and Mike worked with, right? That came out with a record. Like we worked with a lot of people. Michael's written so many songs for myself and so many others, but this is the first record that got picked up, and that was an accomplishment for us. And then to get back in the studio and redo it, it felt like we just didn't miss a beat. It didn't matter how much time we haven't spoken. That didn't matter because when we were back in the studio, it just felt, again, going back to what I said earlier, like family, it was an honor, and, we all got a little choked up, and when we were done, but it felt good. And when, then years passed, it was done already. Me and Mike mixed this record years ago. We're like, when's it coming out? But I think it's worth that thing because it gave us time. Like I would say in the last few weeks, I said, well, we need another mix because this is just too much like the original. We did, definitely made some changes to it, but I said, let me come up with a beat. It was, it changed a couple of times from the original beat. The process has been amazing because it felt just like back in the 80s when we started working with each other.
Yep.
I mean, we did the song, it was probably what, 89?
Yeah.
Right? The song was already written in 89, and we were just trying to figure it out. I guess it was an easy transition because at the time, Willie and I were already familiar with Micmac, right? We were already familiar with Fever. All these labels were in our neighborhood. We lived in Chelsea, so it was easy for us. We were pestering Mickey all the time, right? And I think it was just a matter of time that, you know, Mick Mac just decided, hey, we got to put these guys on, right? Because it was a long time coming. And doing this version of it's really, for me, it's special because the record is so important to all of us, right? Because soon after, you know, One True Love Affair came out, I had my stuff I was doing with Atlantic, you know, all these projects, things just started coming our way. And I think it started with this one, right? And it was really good to come full circle and then have Willie be involved in this project again, because it started that way, right? I mean, this went through a couple of producers at the time, right? I think even Frankie was on it at one point, right? He had it at one point, you know.
Went through a lot
he did like a guitar version or something.
Yeah, it was a lot of different versions of it, and then you know, finally it found a home.
How did it feel for each individual person on this panel to hear your song, the producer, the writer, and the singer on the radio, FM, on commercial radio?
Well, I remember the first day that I heard it. I was driving on FDR and I heard it on the radio, and I had to pull over to the first phone booth, the first phone booth that I found, to call my mother and tell her to put it on Hot 97 so she can hear the song. Because honestly, I did not think it was ever going to be played on the radio. That was just my way of thinking back then, because like Michael told you, it wasn't something that I thought I was going to be doing. And when I heard it, I started crying, and I was telling my mother, I was like, Mom, the song's on the radio, it's on the radio. They had it on what was that contest they used to have? Make It or Break It? Something like that? Yeah. Yes. And I was just like, I don't care if it doesn't make it. It's on the radio. People hear it. And I called my sister and I told her, and I called my best friend Vivian and I told her. So yeah, I had to carry around with a lot of quarters because I was trying to tell everybody that the song was on the radio.
Call from Nyasia. Oh, request my song now.
What about you, Willie? When the first time that you heard Nyasia's song on the radio as a producer of the original version, how'd you feel?
It felt great. You know, one of us made it. You know, that's the whole thing. We've been working for so long, and for us, one win. It doesn't matter who won; it's a win for all of us. So we were, you know, ecstatic, and you know, we were so proud of Naya and the song. And I know Mike, you know, this is something that he worked on writing, and you know how he writes, and I'll let him, you know, speak on how he felt, but I felt great.
Mike, you're the writer. How did you feel listening to something that you wrote on the radio, FM?
You know, for me, it was sort of like I knew it had something, so I knew eventually it was going to do something eventually, because the quality was there, right? The song, it was different. The string lines that were in the song, and then the writing was just very different too as well. The first time I heard this, I was actually in Brooklyn at the time, and it was big with like the Italian community in that area on 86th Street, going towards Brighton Beach in that area. And that was the first time I heard it. Someone was driving by with an open T-top vehicle, and it was just booming. And I was like, it sounded weird for a second because I didn't think it was the song, right? Like, how did that person get the demo right now? I don't understand, right? You know, so it was like one of those things. But no, it was really cool. It was really cool to hear it. And you know, I think I didn't really feel the true effect of it until I got to Miami.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
And I think it was only when I, you know, like I used to go to Miami a lot, and when I went down to Miami, that's kind of when I realized, whoa, like this is everywhere right now, right? So yeah, that's how I felt about it. It was great.
I thought it was for me as a wannabe DJ at the time. Getting this record was everything to me, right? And the Micmac logo and the, you know, the sleeve, and you buy it for $4 at the Strawberries or the Music Center here in my town. But you know, just collecting them and I still have, you know, many different copies of Now and Forever or all the Nyasia records. But to have the Micmac iconic sleeve, yellow and red,
is something that you want to collect all of them. You know, I even got the Menudo one. But you know, so we just, you know, yeah. Can I get my money back for that one? Anyways, but it's a collector's dream to have every single 12-inch record from Micmac, even the ones that are different colors, because originally it was white background with the you know, black lettering and red, and then it evolved to like a reddish color. So you want to have all different versions. But to me, one of the songs that I needed to have, because it was a song of the summer, it was the Nyasia Now and Forever, because everyone in my neighborhood was playing it. They had the singles, they had the 12-inch records, and you know, they were just playing it. And then when the evolution of music kept on, you know, evolving, the CDs came out. So Micmac will have like a compilation with the song in it, and they'll have a different version. So you have to get that version because it's not available on the 12-inch. So that's a great, you know, historic and iconic song. Listening to the record on TIC FM on commercial radio, and having them listen to the local station, our show, Clubhouse, and then them listening to us, and then them programming it on their shows, because they would listen to our show at the time and then program some of their music, especially in the Saturday night mix shows. So those are things that make the song mean a lot to us. And now, you know, we're here 35 years later, and the same people that brought this record back then have gotten together to not only re-record the music and bring it up to 2024, right? But you re-record the vocals and you sound so much better because of the technology and the way that the vocals are recorded now. Willie, the process of the vocals, how did you make them sound so nice and clear and crispy? I can hear everything Nyasia is enunciating now.
Well, I had Mike record it, and I just put the settings on. I walked away. No, I'm just kidding.
Nice.
Well, kind of, because Mike likes to record vocals. For that piece, I would say I was more of the engineer, right? So, you know, I put the compressor to make sure that it didn't peak. And then I put some effects just so that way everyone feels comfortable listening to themselves. And yeah, Mike pretty much takes the lead on that part.
Michael, why is it that you love recording vocals, especially Nyasia's?
I just think that it's, you know, me, as my place in the music industry has always been, you know, I wanted to be an artist at one point, but then I came to terms with it wasn't really for me anymore, right? So I love being behind the scenes. I love being part of that process, right? Of just taking something that is just so raw and making it just bigger, right? There's a lot of records that I've touched like that, you know, that you know, I don't really look for the credit. It's just more about I love just doing it, right? So I didn't get the chance to do that during the first record when we did Now Forever. Nelson, however, I will say that Nelson did call me a lot during that time, and we had our differences as well during that time as well. But you know, he wanted me to be pleased with it. And there were some things that I told him over the phone, hey, maybe do this, maybe do that. But I wasn't part of that process. So this was really cool to actually sit down with her and just know, because I know her, you know. I'm not calling you by your government name right now. So yeah. Normally I'm calling
Michael,
you different. Yeah.
Did it sound like Vindication to you now, 35 years later, that, you know, was it like, you know, they recorded the record the way they wanted to, even though they were contacting you and trying to get tips on how you wanted it, but now you're doing everything, and you have your best friend with you at the same time?
Yeah, I think that was the best part. It was less about like recording it and more about just the bonding, right? It's just every time I'm in the studio, something's gonna happen, right? It gets crazy, right? But like having her in the studio, that was awesome, because it was just sort of like we're just hanging, right? Oh, by the way, you know, you need to record these vocals. Oh, okay. And we go in the studio, right? So it's that simple.
It was so much fun. It was like a jam session. Like if we were in a rock band and everybody's just hanging out in the garage just doing the jam session, that's what it felt like, because I'm very scared of the microphone when we go into the studio. And believe it or not, it was even more hard for me to re-record the vocals with these two there, because I felt like I had something to prove to them, you know, because you have Willie, who's, you know, artistic, hello, and Michael being a great vocalist himself, an amazing writer, and he had his own stuff out there. So to me, it was, okay, it's time now to go in here and show these guys that I really can, you know, do something with the song that they gave me.
Yeah, you got to understand also, like the first time we recorded this song, we were recording it on a 4-track,
Yeah.
right? Okay, it was freaking
Oh
hot.
my
in the
God,
room.
yeah.
It was freaking hot. Like, I mean, it was the worst conditions, right? That you want to record a song, but we knew we had to do it. So technically, for us to like do this in a proper studio, you know, you don't have dogs walking around, you know, things like that. You don't hear toilets flushing. It's, you know, those are the kind of things you know, we're just trying to get it in at that time, you know, get a demo out, right? So it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of
I
fun.
had my toilets removed for this session.
Yeah,
No
this
toilets.
one, yeah, absolutely.
What are you being able to kind of replicate some of the sound of the original version, but also bringing it to 2024, but also paying homage to the original, and also making it into a story, which is, you know, I got a chance to listen to everything. And again, we've talked about this in other lives, right? During our previous sessions. But how do you come up with the concepts, and what inspired you to put all those intricate details on this production?
So the hardest part was, you know, the keyboards that Michael Orello played on the original. Yeah. That was very intricate. So I had to really be by myself sometime to go, because, you know, it's like I'm playing, then I'm missing one note. I'm not going to play the whole thing over. I'll just rewind it, ding, hit that one note, put it in. So that was fun. But then, you know, me and Mike listened to it like, well, we got to change it up a little bit, because it's good that we got that original sound, but we got to, you know, change it up just to give it a little more modern sound, and just to differentiate. You know, this is the 35th of the time, 30th anniversary, but just bring it to where we are now. So, you know, and that was piecing it together. I mean, when we were mixing it, oh, let's add this. Oh, let's add that. Take that out. You know, even to the old lady, I fall and I can't get up. We couldn't find the original, but we found something similar and did it in a different way. And it was fun. It was fun again. You know, when the record first came out, I remember it coming out. I didn't have any feelings like, damn, I didn't produce the record. But, you know, as time passed by, you're like, man, I wish I would have, you know, produced it with Micmac at that time. So it just feels good to be able to do that now. And I appreciate that Martin and Nia gave me the opportunity to do that, and even better opportunity to do it with my original partner, Michael. And we were mixing it together, and Mike's like, no, add this, add that. Even if things didn't work, he goes, yeah, add on the song, take it out. You know, Michael throws things in there. He's like, let's try it. Yeah, that sucks. Let's take it out. You know, but we have fun. At the end of the day, we have fun, and it still stays true to the original. And I think fans are going to love it.
I want to send a big shout out, go out to Martin DJ Paradise, absolutely the executive producer of this record, because of his input and his, you know, trying to make it better and evolving it, which is really cool. Is he there? Is he there next to you?
Yes.
A big shout out to him. You know, and he sent me some notes. It was in Braille too. I don't know how you read an email in Braille, but big shout out going out to him. You know, it's important, and I appreciate him for that, because he and I are very similar when it comes to the history of this genre. It's great to tell the stories of the history. And again, my previous point was, people can remake their music, right? And people can go out and you know, do a 2024 version. This is different. This is going back to the roots of the record, the original way that you wanted to release it, and now bringing it to 2024, 35 years later. And you also want to add something, you know, that has to do with not only the collaboration between you and Willie and Michael, but you also want to bring family members along. You also want to, you know, update the music and also pay homage to the original. So this is like a movie. If it was a movie, it would be the freestyle cinematic universe. You know what I mean? Like, because you're bringing the Avengers together, you're bringing family. It's just a great a song. And let me just say, I put the version, extended version in my car, and the bass was so perfect. The beats were so perfect. The production was perfect. And then your vocals come on, and I'm like, man, Nyasias sounds better than the original because, you know, again, technology, but also everything has evolved when it comes to recording vocals. Your vocals, again, they're so clear. You can understand every word. You know, with the older equipment, the 4-track and all that good stuff, you know, it's great music and people appreciate the original. But for those who have never experienced the vocals of this record and the writing of Michael Anthony Bertot or the production of Willie Valentin, all you guys coming together to form Voltron, if you will, right? Form this song. It's just amazing. 35 years to perfection is what I called it today.
Wow.
It's
nice. I like that.
amazing.
Now we got to change the cover
And,
again. Oh.
You know, getting back to what you were saying, Jose, when you were saying, you know, anybody can re-record their songs, but are they all re-recording the songs with the original writers, producers, and things like that? And to us, it was the most important part. It wasn't just re-recording; it was having to have Michael and Willie do it with us, with me, and you know, because doing it with the two guys that actually deserve the recognition for that song. You know, I will always, you know, be grateful for Make Mac for, you know, putting me out there and putting the song out. But my gratitude first and foremost is always going to be to these two guys. And that's how, when Manny came up with the idea, oh, you should re-record the song, I was like, yeah, okay, nobody's going to want to do that. And when it came to fruition, it was the elation can't describe it, because that's how I felt.